Listen, we gotta talk. Helldivers 2 might just be Game of the Year, and it's only February. I know this type of video is outside of my niche and YouTube might not like that, but I really want to talk about this. HD2 has already been one of the best examples of what live service is supposed to look like, and it's only been out for 11 days. Let me explain. I have never been one for massive MMOs or things like Destiny 1 or 2. Not saying I have not played those games and had fun, but just that they were not exactly my cup of liberty. With that said, the future of Helldivers 2 and what the developers over at Arrowhead Studios have planned literally gives me chills. In this video, we're going to cover the story so far, what the developers have planned, and speculate on some upcoming content within the game, such as other planned enemies, mechs, and what that could mean for players. If you don't know anything about the story of Helldivers 2 so far, let me give you a brief recap. Helldivers are an elite special forces soldiers of the Super Earth Coalition. In Helldivers 1, the Sol system consisting of Super Earth and multiple planets were invaded by 3 factions: the Terminid, Cyborgs, and the Illuminates. The first game follows you, a Helldiver, as you successfully beat back 3 invading factions and liberate the Sol system. A time of peace was ushered in as Helldivers 1 ends, and the humans start farming Terminid planets. Helldivers 1 ends back there in 2015, and Arrowhead Game Studios start working on Helldivers 2 for the next 7 years. Flash forward to February 8th, 2024, and Helldivers 2 is released. Helldivers 2's story picks up with the Terminids breaking free of the human farming on the east side of the Sol system, quickly invading and taking over a few planets.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
Roughly at the same time, a new threat called the Automation sprouts up in the west part of the Sol system. With 2 threats now at large, and the Sol system starting to lose control of planets at a rapid rate, the Helldivers are once again called upon to fight a war on 2 fronts and protect Super Earth from destruction. Which brings us to today, and what that means for the future content of the game. Are you ready? Because hold on to your seat, this is where it really blows me away. Right now, we're currently fighting 2 wars on both ends of the system. Every single mission you complete, every monster you kill, every shot you fire, is tracked and cataloged inside game logs, which means every inch of progress you make on a planet in order to liberate it actually means something. Once you get a planet 100% liberated, it's back under Super Earth control. On the flip side, not defending a planet in time will have consequences. Losing a planet, having it locked, or being forced to start over, or maybe just losing it entirely. I've seen planets in this game not even a 1/10 of a percentage completed, and we've had the servers capped at 450,000 Helldivers that could be active at all times. It's going to be really interesting how the writers handle this story, and the possibility of adding new enemies to the game is almost limitless. Now, I'm not envious of the writers here. They have an incredibly hard job. They have to predict whether the community will succeed or fail at something. They have to have a scenario ready to go win or lose. Game writer Stephen Flowers had this to say about the player-driven story. What's unique about the story of Helldivers 2 is that it's driven by the player. Community planning for that is a huge challenge. We have to think what will happen, but ultimately, we can't control what the player will do. Which, as a player, I find cool, but as a writer, I find really scary. As for the story ahead, all I can say is that the galaxy would look very different than it does today. Being a writer on this team must be like trying to be the ultimate Dungeons & Dragons dungeon master. You control the story arc for over 4 million people at any given time. Yet at the same time, as with any D&D game, you don't have total control. You can always guide your players in the right direction, but ultimately, it's going to be up to the community to prove whether we can defend a planet or not. The AI in this game is nothing to scoff at either. Arrowhead Studios really wanted to lean into the randomness of every fight and make it feel more off the rails, so to speak. So game director Sagar Barashi explains, "It's a suite of tools and a suite of real-life human beings. It's not just AI bots that is observing the gameplay as it's happening and responding in real time." Meaning, let's say there's one planet where the community is just rolling over the AI. We're completing things way too quickly. A real-life dungeon master can activate a series of debuffs to make that specific planet or mission more challenging. Listen, I know a lot of friends that are into roleplay, and I can tell you, just from reading some of these comments from these game directors, they're having a ton of fun with this system. And I think that's what the difference is. You can feel that passion and love for just how the game operates just by listening to these folks talk. It's why I think this game has been so successful. That, and it brings back old school co-op couch play vibes. I get the same feelings from this game as I did playing through Halo Reach on Legendary, all skulls enabled with a buddy back in my teenage years. Now, the beautiful thing here is that there's no reset. There's no like, hey, it's Friday, we're gonna go to our next chapter of content. Now, all this happens in real time. Now, Sager goes on to say that as the story progresses, as Helldivers push back enemy forces and enemy forces push back Helldivers, new unique missions might appear, and things that you've never encountered before might pop up around the map. That's simply how the game masters progress the game due to how the community is playing. I hope that they implement clans and give out clan orders to defend specific planets. Can you imagine it's like 2 or 3 a.m. and your phone is blowing up with Discord notifications telling you to hop on into terminated space and defend planet Meridia from a surprise attack? It's like getting raided in Clash of Clans, but instead of a mobile app, it's a third-person action shooter. I actually really love that idea. Now, as far as new content, the 2 factions of the game right now are the Terminids and the Automation. If you remember, back in Helldivers 1, there was also the Cyborgs and the Illuminates. These 2 factions could ultimately make a return in HD2, or perhaps it will end up becoming something completely new that we haven't faced yet. They also teased mechs in one of their trailers, and I'm excited to see that. I'd go as far as to say they're probably thinking about more traditional vehicles too. Can you imagine a motorcycle jump into a fight? Right now, the game is chocked full of content. I've got 4 planets to go explore and liberate that weren't available last week. I've got a number of ship upgrades I still need to do. I've got a major order to complete, and a hell of a long battle pass to finish. For someone who doesn't love live service games, this seems to be the best of the bunch by far, and ticks all my personal boxes. I can tell you, it's already got my vote for Game of the Year. Thanks for watching. For more Helldivers 2 content, keep it right here on this channel because I don't think I'm going to be putting this game down anytime soon. See ya!